being online didn't help me, especially not when I began fantasy fiction writing about 8 months ago now. When I say online and why it didn't help me, I mean that whenever I sat down to write and focus on the book series that I decided I'd create and 9th June 2025, the internet and being online in general helped take my focus away. It took my focus away. Suddenly I found myself on YouTube. Maybe I was inside some AI tools, Claude, ChatGPT, or anything, looking for like a shortcut, because while writing I suddenly felt this resistance or this doubt that blossomed up in my fucking stomach, flared. And that would take and waste a lot of hours I could have spent writing and sitting through that uncomfortable period to get through and push through. You don't see J.K. Rowling or George R. Martin going to an AI tool, for example, to try to figure out how to get past the doubt. No, they just wrote their way through it. And that's why I forgot. I forgot that it's going to be hard. It's going to take a long time. And it's going to be quite painful sometimes to write. And that's why I have to make sure I don't have any tools. I don't have anything that I can possibly go to for comfort. And that's what being online was for me. It was a comfort. And especially YouTube and AI tools. I remember, I guess it's always been like this for me, as a story just popped up in my head. When I used to be like a teenager, I spent a considerable amount of time inside, and I was on the internet, I was gaming, I was watching YouTube videos. I was wasting my time, in my opinion. And also later, when I first found like these self-improvement things and that you could actually become better in life, I went to all of the self-improvement type of content on the internet, and that kept me from, for example, executing on going to the gym or working out. I instead found a video on how to optimize the best workout regime, etc. And that kept me from working out. And just like this, the internet kept me from writing when I first decided to begin writing. And that's the danger, that it's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to just, oh, let me watch that one video on YouTube I remember suddenly. And it just drags your entire session into the ground, through the mud. And then the progress you could have made suddenly doesn't get made. The shortcut was never really finding that one video. The shortcut was to just do the fucking thing. And that's what I've done. I've removed all shortcuts I can do online. And when I say I've removed myself from being online, I would say that's pretty accurate. I'm barely online. My lifestyle is very different from anyone else. And I'm going to show you on my MacBook how it actually looks like. And try to explain you and show you as well, as best as possible. But the main concept is to just block and remove all the distractions that you can. I still use a MacBook. I'm not like J.K. Rowling writing in a notebook and writing the story in the notebook. I use an app called Scrivener for it, but I've completely blocked, and I'll show you this. I've completely blocked my browsers almost. I use something called Cold Turkey Blocker. I've shown this in a previous video, I believe, but I think it's one of the best tools I can possibly recommend. I am not sponsored because I have no subscribers, so I wouldn't, no one would reach out to me. But I'll show you anyway. So if you can see here, oh shit. Yeah. So I use this Scrivener. That's the app for all my writing, my project. I've outlined all of my entire book series is outlined here, or not fully outlined, but this is the main place where I'll work on it. Then I have my notes, which I use for listing out my goals and everything else that I find important and most likely will go back to and review. Then I have cold turkey blocker, where I've literally blocked every single thing, was distraction I could get like drawn to. So for example, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, YouTube, Gemini, it's all there. And I have several other blocks to just get rid of every possible distraction. And obviously those distractions is the things I go to Chrome for. I'll show you what happens when, let's say, I suddenly get a lot of doubt while I'm writing. I can have a tendency to go to Claude, but then that comes up, the site is blocked, and that site is blocked in this specific period from 7 a.m. to almost 2 p.m. And yeah, that's how it is for most apps. I have to literally pay 50 kroners, I believe, no, 40 kroners, which is $4-ishly, to get past. And that's something I'm not willing to do. And I can't throw the cold turkey into the bin either, because that literally takes down my entire Chrome. It's good. It's very fucking good, and I definitely recommend it if you want to turn your MacBook or your PC into sort of an old school, almost typewriter like machine. I remember like George R. Martin and J.K. Rowling, how they would write without the internet before it actually came. And I think going back to that period can be very beneficial for writing and creativity. Relying on AI tools, going to ChatGPT and giving all your brainstorming, etc. I think to just use your own mind and just try to make that as strong as possible by sitting down and going through that doubt, going through that resistance. Now for my phone, I have an iPhone, so I've just used screen time, and I have my mother, which has the screen time password, and I've literally just put limits on everything. I put limits on everything that I don't want to be used. For example, browsers, I've literally just put 0 seconds use for every browser I have. And the ChatGPT and AI tools I have on my phone is on a downtime. So for example, when I'm recording this video, and when I in the morning of this day wrote, I have this downtime, so I can't use my phone at all. I put my phone on plane mode, something like that, so you can't get call and get messages. And I put my phone down in the basement. I live in the second floor of my parents' house at the moment, and that has very much helped me because it creates this friction. I don't want to go to my phone. It's easier to just push through the doubt and resistance while I'm writing and typing away on Scrivener. So yeah, I hope those things helped. My point was really to just be less online. Don't use the internet as a shortcut to try to find ease and comfort away from the writing. And you might think you're productive when you're asking Claude about a writing routine and how you can optimize this and how the routine should go to be the most effective, to give you an edge, an advantage, etc. But really, it's most likely just holding you more back. I know from personal experience that's what it did to me. And yeah, there really isn't any shortcuts there. I'll say this though, if there's anything specific that I'd want to ask Claude about or ask ChatGPT about, I'd schedule it for later in the day, and I'd not like schedule it by putting in a note, because I have a tendency to just, if I get a question in my head, I just want it to get answered right away. But I've just blocked ChatGPT and Claude and everything AI tools for the entire morning, and I can't do anything about it. And that leaves me to, oh shit, I have to just ask the question later in the day. So it's automatically scheduled in that sense. So yeah, I strongly believe in a more old school and old fashioned way of writing. I very much imagine myself being at Hogwarts or something and just writing away, reading away. I'll be honest, I use Kindle, but yeah. I use Kindle, that's one thing. Yeah, that's what I use my phone mainly for. I use my MacBook sometimes for Kindle. That's mainly it. So yeah, gonna end the video there. Try to be less online. It feels better, a lot better. See ya.